right, people. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. Geez, it's been like 2 weeks, but we are back. We had to collect some information, and Ryan overslept like a mover last week, but it happens. And plus, I think he was in Vegas anyway, so I think the time frame was definitely different.
It was
Um,
6 a.m., my man. I got the text message and I'm like, I think I just went to bed at like 5:30.
oh, as we get older, we ain't supposed to stay up that late no more.
No, but I'll tell you, it's one thing about Vegas, man. I don't know if it's the oxygen they pump in the casinos or it seemed like it was dead all day. And then once the clock strikes midnight, like that whole place wakes up. So I was out
Yeah, it's definitely a
tracking
nice
down
scene
some
for
movers.
sure.
Yeah, it's not for me. I'll tell you that right now. I am too old for Vegas. Um, I struggle in Atlantic City, let alone Vegas, for goodness sakes, but it was good. It was like 1,900 people there. It was the largest event I've been to in my 2 years on this side of the house, for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So tell us about that event. What took place?
So the IM International Association of Movers held their annual conference. So this year out in Vegas, obviously a great place for it at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, which shout out to those guys, been very professional. It's probably one of the nicer hotels I've been in a long time. And service was just impeccable, by the way. Like you didn't even have to ask. Like it's almost like they anticipated, uh-oh, we lose
I'm here.
Dwight.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, no, so I'm just like, man, am I full screen here? But no, just like the level of service, it was like they almost anticipated each and every move. Which I think as a fellow former mover, we can kind of all take a page out of that playbook. I mean, these guys weren't reactive at all. It was very proactive on our stays, our experience. They led with the questions that they asked, and it was just it kind of brought me back in seat of being a moving guide. But really, really good. A lot of people from countries. Dwight, I'll tell you, I'm looking at their name tags, and I didn't even never even heard of certain areas throughout the world that these folks were from. So it's kind of an eye opening. It really kind of put the moving moving industry in perspective of it's not just here in the US and Canada, like it is so much bigger than what I ever had expected. I mean, obviously, there's global transportation, moving companies all over the place, but you got 1,900 movers in a room from I don't know how many countries there even are, for goodness sakes, but holy cow, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Great
Well,
show.
I ain't gonna say that's saying much in particular because people say places in New York that I don't know that existed.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwyght Mack with Max Moving Training. So we're gonna be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. The customer, they're uplifting their life from one location to another. They're having to call all these vendors and get all these suppliers in place so that basically they can make that transition. So their stress level is at the highest right now. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stress during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it.
Yeah, very true. But this was like, I'm like, man, where are you from? And they would say it, and I'm just like, oh gosh, like I couldn't. Like, most places, like you want to pick a spot like Australia, I can point out in a direction on a map where it is. Dude, I'd say you could have gave me blew up a map to a T, and I would have been like, I have no idea where this place is. Like
Yeah.
Dwightsville. I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Sure. I don't know what that is either. Uh, all right. So let's talk about the rumor in the room now. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard a little sneak peek about people talking about how lead providers are now, going to be limiting, and we talking about paid lead providers now. So they're going to be limiting how many leads are going out to the movers. So it used to be three. But now it's because of some FCC. I don't know who the FCC is, but I think that must be like an acronym for federal something. But they're going to be eliminating a lot of the spam stuff. So pretty much these leads won't go out, going out to like three people. It'll only be going out to like one mover in the area. So I was like, well, that sounds kind of good from a back end perspective of things. But the lead providers, as we already know, with three movers, have already increased their prices over the last couple of years. So now you're saying, well, they're not able to feed as many movers as less leads. So now you don't think they're not going to raise their prices up a little higher now to like $50, $60 or like some crazy absurd amount to just feed you?
Yeah, I feel like it's a two-pronged piece. Like one, I think it's if this is the case, if I was someone that was purchasing leads and they're going to three, four, five, six other moving companies, which we know that they are already. Now, a lot of times they say, no, you pay more, you get the exclusivity of the lead. I've been able to debunk that one, I would say, and we'll just leave it at that. But the other side of the house is, yeah, like if they're not going to be able to sell X amount of leads, that same lead multiple times, I would almost bet that those leads are definitely going to go up in price. So,
Mm-hmm. And you're still
you
gonna
know,
get
but
garbage. You're gonna get crap leads. I'm sorry to say it, yeah. Sorry. But
yeah,
you
you got to
know,
filter through a ton, So I guess that's maybe that will, force some of these lead providers to, really hit these leads with a fine tooth comb and really be pushing out legitimate quality leads. But again, how do you control that?
you can't. And let's just even go to what is it? Uh Google, what is it? Google. Um it's the exclusive Google thing that most people get on at the top of Google.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm having a mind blank, man. I'm brain dead. I've been gone.
yeah. But yeah, nevertheless, the exclusive thing on Google that a lot of people were using to get like high quality leads. And it would cost you an arm and a leg. It probably cost you $125. Um,
Wow.
but with that being said, and on the top of Google, you see the Google Guarantee. Yes, that's what it is. So people are paying for Google Guarantee because they're like, oh yeah, we get high quality leads. If you don't deliver as you need to deliver, Google will they have because they guarantee that you're going to deliver what you said you're going to deliver. If you don't deliver, I think you have to get a customer a full refund or something of that nature. It's like some weird stuff.
I'd love to, if anybody's listened to this that has experience with that Google piece, to chime in, ask a question, or let us know how it's working for you. I've been hearing more and more about it, but again, it's kind of not my strong suit by any means. Again, because me, Dwight, we didn't pay for leads at all. We were so well diversified that like the day you saw me paying 30, 40, 50, 60, $100+ for a lead, like just was not happening. Period. We filled our
Mhm.
schedule with other like minded work. But yeah, so that's not a strong suit for me. But again, hearing enough from our customers and being out kind of boots on the ground at all these events, I mean, that's one thing you hear is I'm getting garbage leads. Well, I'm paying so much money for leads and come to find out that I'm fighting with my local competitors over those same leads that we're both paying top dollar for. Like
It
that's been very
everything's a
frustrating.
everything's a stepping stone. The, the leads you get, yes, a lot of them will be garbage, especially if you're going through a majority of leads are paid providers. We had one customer one moving company owner who mentioned that 90% of their work or 80% of their work came from moving help. And not to throw moving help on any bus, but hey, we on the topic. So, but 80% came from moving help or whatever the case is. And now they had cut him off because he was a full service moving company. He had not even a full service, but he had a trailer. And they peeped that he had a trailer in his pictures or whatever the case is. And they were like, oh, you've outgrown us.
I'd say there's two things there well, one thing really scares the snot out of me a little bit, and I get, and I don't know if this is a new moving company or just trying to get established or what have you, but having 80+%, even 60 or 50% of your business locked in on one particular source or one particular avenue, like is scary.
Number 3, make sure your team is in uniform, they're groomed, their hygiene is checked, because that's the worst thing you could do, especially going in a house. Customer can smell your guy from a mile away, and now, again, their mood is just thrown off. So make sure that you guys are in uniform, you're tight, you have uniform shirts, it doesn't look like, you have a laborer that's, hired from off the street. Presentation is everything that goes towards your first impression. Number 4, introduce both you and your partner when greeting the customer. Don't just go to the door by yourself, while your driver is unloading the truck, and introduce yourself. Actually have both of you there. Introduce yourself first, then introduce your partner second, and then, allow them to welcome you into their home.
Because obviously we know things happen, companies go under, and I'm not saying the moving company, but say you're doing 80% of your business from this particular lead provider, what have you. Like, what if something happens there? Like,
Prime example.
What do you do next? You just lost 80% of your piece. You're not diversified. You're not like, whoa. And I have these conversations quite a bit, and I've got a really awesome guy out of California that hung his hat for 30 plus years on a particular segment, and he did super, super well. Well, that segment blew up, and quite a few competitors came in and were doing it at half the price he was. And it basically it brought his business to its knees. And I don't ever tell anybody to switch gears and focus on local moves, right? I try to get people out of the local and out of the household side, like use that for filler work. But it was one of the first calls where I'm like, dude, you just need cash flow at this point. Like we're trying to get him to do local residential and kind of retrain the fleet there because they're so used to doing a particular piece. That rug got ripped right out from underneath him, and it has not been good. So, but again, having all your eggs in one basket, man, like that's not good. Easter Bunny doesn't like that.
Yep. And the crazy part is right now, I think everybody's just grasping for straws. If you're a moving company that's been around for a long time and maybe you built some establishment, it's great. But for those that, have been diversified into lead providers and all these other lead sources, they're just trying to find their way right now. And as we mentioned prior to the show, everybody wants to get in the postcard. Now think about how saturated that field will be if you just want to do postcards and, my postcard looks the best because I got a QR code on it or I got a tracking number on it. Woohoo! Very similar to, again, what you mentioned, Ryan, where it's like, I'm going to Google search. So now when I Google search you and I call you, likelihood from your Google number, and it has to be almost a real number that Google verified, you're going to have to figure out where did I call you, or where did I get your information from? And I'm going to say, I found you on Google. And darn well, I found you on that postcard. And now it's like, how many postcards you have to send out to get a decent return? We say, your average success is 2% to 5%. So you send out 2,000 postcards, you're going to get maybe 20 responses. And those 20 responses, maybe half of them go to Google and find you. And the other 10 actually call you from the postcard, and only 5 or 4 actually decide to really want to go with you and book with you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
It is, but I tell you, a good one for the show. And did you have Matt Young on the show?
Yeah, yep. We got him on, I think, a few weeks back.
I did the pleasure. I was with him at the New York convention the past couple days there, and I think they're doing something really, really cool with. And I probably shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, you know what happened with that?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, but they're going to be targeting some really cool things, catching people well before. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But I think he's got a solution. I feel like that will to ensure that you're going to be the first one there. Right, you're going to get that first look with everybody apparently now trying to send out postcards and all this stuff and what have you. I think he's got we'll leave it at that. We'll bring him on here again if you don't mind at some point when he rolls this thing.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a magic solution for some of these things. But you're right though. Like, and we were talking prior to is like, if I get something in the mail, first thing I do is grab my phone. I'm Googling who the hell are they? What do they want? What do they do? And if it seems attractive to me, I usually call right from my phone and go. So that's pulling up in their minds as, hey, I found them on Google. When in reality, I got the postcard in the mail. Um, but then
So
I think it really, comes down to the staff too of, hey, how did you hear about us? Asking the basic question and, oh yeah, by the way, I did get your postcard, then I Googled you and then boom. So I would internally change that from Google to postcard mailer or something like that. But I just think we do a little bit better job of asking and really kind of dive in of, hey, how'd they hear about us? How'd they find us? How'd they get to us? To truly track if these things are working or not.
now there is a way where Google can track a person's trail. So let's say they click the link of your postcard, they go to your website, and then from your website, they go from your website straight to Google search you. It's a way where Google can, it's very complex, and that's why I don't mess with it, because Google got too much power already. But it's a way where basically they can track your trail and basically let you know that, oh yeah, this person came from originally this site and got here before they called you. But again, we're movers, and movers is just like, hey, just find me.
I think at this point, most movers are just like, they just want the phone. They don't care where the business is coming from. It's just like, hey, let me book some shit.
Mhm. And that's what one of the conversations when I had my morning walk the other day, where it was just like everything is just getting so complex, especially with knowing how sophisticated and pricey these leads are getting to what is your sales process to determine if these leads are truly garbage to, how quickly you're getting to these, how, are you running your marketing ROI properly? Are you giving them the full 90 days? Can you afford to give them 90 days now? Before you used to be to, oh, that lead is really bad. I know people who weren't a fan of Yelp for a good while and probably still aren't a fan of Yelp. But
I
Yelp has
always
the
thought
power.
Yelp is like, if I was looking for a good place to get a cheeseburger or something like that, like I thought that was, to me, that was like the original Yelp is like, hey, where am I going to get some grub? And now people are leveraging Yelp to, where do I find movers? Which, shoot, they were doing that back when I was in the industry. And it was kind of surprising because it was one of the places that I never really looked too deep into was Yelp. Because again, I thought, hey, that's a cheeseburger joint. Like that's where we go figure out where I'm going to go eat. But no, and people are. But I do think you did touch on something. I think patience. Anytime you're looking to try something new, whether it's moving leads, postcards, mail, whatever the heck it is, you got to have patience. You got to have that 90 days worth because if you think you're going to send out 1,000 postcards tomorrow and have 200 moves on your calendar on Friday, no. Now you might be the anomaly that just happens to get lucky and every postcard that goes to a particular home, and they're like, hell yeah. Like, ooh, found my mover, but that's not realistic. I think consistency always wins in this industry. And you gotta have a
Mhm.
little bit of patience packed behind it. But also, I mean, knowing your numbers, can you afford to go out for 4, 5, 6 months and spend it on X or Y? I think that's a big thing. Some of these, especially the young guys in the game, they just start seeing, oh, wow, hey, if I go do this, I'm going to 10X business, right? Because you're hearing the big guys talk about this stuff. Well, the big guys have the cash. Little guys got to be a little bit more strategic with the cash flow, if they even have any cash flow, right? Are they doing the right things with it to begin with? Or
Exactly.
are they getting big lump sums of money and going buying the cars, the watches, and all that stuff? Or are they, baling up that hay and put it out in the fields for a bad month, we'll say, or a bad week?
And
Or
don't throw it all to don't throw like Brian mentioned, don't throw everything in one basket. Meaning don't throw all your pennies in marketing, because the return and the patience for that return takes time. So, you're throwing everything. Oh, well, hey, if we throw in lead providers, we throw in postcards, we throw in organic marketing, like we hire a social media person who can create little organic ads if you're not doing Facebook ads, which I'm not a big fan of anyways. But they work when they work for some people.
Yeah, I mean, shoot,
Huh?
guy spent 7,500 to 8 grand a month on SEO, and come to find out, like it was an absolute waste for him. He should have spent
Oh,
that money. He should have spent that money on a website because his website was garbage. So
well,
yeah,
he's paying for
you bring
SEO. How is he getting that without the website?
his website was terrible, terrible. And it's like I'd spend 5, 6 thousand bucks and have my website completely revamped because it was like going back in time. And if I were to pull a website up like that, I'd be like, no. It was just wasn't even put together. It was an old website, but it's like, whoa. So oftentimes I think sometimes where people are spending the cash is just not even the appropriate areas. You,
Mm-hmm.
did they invest in their team first? That's kind of my thing. I invest in your employees first and then go after the other pieces. Because if you don't have the team, if you don't have that buy-in from them, you can spend all sorts of money on leads, SEO, you can spend it all across the board. And at the end of the day, if your team doesn't want to execute because they're not believers or they're not a part of the game, that's a whole different. You can buy all leads in the world. If your team's not handling them correctly, and you don't have a sales process or a playbook, what's the point of buying leads if you're just going to piss through them?
Yeah, no, you're right. Um, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, again, diversify your money, diversify growing your business. Focus on your sales team. Focus on, actually listening to their calls. One person mentioned the AI stuff with Room Central. I guess they haven't been up to date with everything where I guess maybe people are trying to get live transcripts of the calls versus having to maybe listen to a call recording and so that they can actually, dissect what's being said on that call. And that would be cool, to actually see, oh, well, customer said this, I said this, and just going down like an actual script and be able to like, okay, well, hey, this is where we can, you see at this point right here, this is where we can improve on. And maybe and out of reading this and skimming this, I see that you didn't, I'm sorry, losing my mind. Oh, reading this and skimming this, I see you didn't even introduce yourself. You
Dude,
didn't,
are you teeing me up right now?
what?
You're teeing me up. I don't even think you realize it. That's our sales AI co-pilot. Everything you're saying right now is what that does. So it does the live transcript, right? It does the summaries of the call. It does the call coaching, the objection handling, the battle cards. And I think the cool part with it is you can go back through that transcript and you don't have to read the whole thing. You can click on it and hear what Dwyght said, hear how Ryan followed up with that. Um, yeah, dude, we're doing that now. We launched that in April.
Hey, everybody, if you ain't got Super Move yet,
That's
this is
our
a formal
but
introduction.
it's a separate it's a standalone piece, so it's not our core, our moving command center, our CRM system. It is the sales AI co-pilot. And then the best part is it grades and scores each call. I think you were gonna head down that path where it says, hey, you know what? Out of Dwight's last X amount of calls, he's done really well with the introduction. He's done really well with asking the appropriate questions. But you know what? Dwyght didn't ask about storage or packing services on 12 of his last 14 calls or 12 out of his last 20 calls. Why not? So it grades each of your reps to see, are they staying consistent? Are they checking all the boxes? And this all happens live while you're talking. So you're not actually physically checking the prompts or the playbook. So you pop in your playbook for your sales reps, your claims team, your customer service team, what have you, and it records, transcribes, summarizes, and it actually has the live script right there as you're rolling with it.
Oh, nice. Well, not the live script. So I know that you're talking about like how you can actually have a script where you're maybe reading if we're on the same page.
Well, it'll have your playbook too, but it also has, like, if you're the customer and I'm the sales rep, when
Mm-hmm.
White says something, it says customer, boom, what they said and the time. So you can really narrow it down. Oh, eliminates that he said, she said, and you're not reading through a script, a summarized sort of say at the end of the call. It's right there. And then you can click on those individual clips and hear Dwight say, no, I'm not taking this piano. And then we show up at the house and, oh yeah, well, I told Ryan I'm taking the piano. No, you can click right on that call, search piano, boom, click. Dwight's like, nope, I'm taking the piano.
Mm. Okay. Well, okay. So no, that's so okay. So you basically got the recording, the pre-recording of everything that they talked about. So like when the movers get to the job, they can kind of recap
Yeah, you could
kind of what
actually
it was.
you could send a summary of that initial call or what have you. Obviously, you're going to have the virtual survey or in-home estimate, but the cool thing is it's all hands-free. So you just spend the time focusing on the customer, and when that call is over, it uploads everything from that call into Supermove as a lead opportunity, whatever movers want to call it at this point. So it's like a hands-free. So before you're on the phone, you're typing name, address, origin, blah blah blah. Like it's hard to focus on the actual conversation because what are you doing? You're typing, you're just asking the basic questions from that potential customer to load it in your CRM system to complete a lead or opportunity. Now it just transfers over automatically. So you just own that phone call. That's it. And it shoots it right over and you work it from there. So hands-free experience. If you're a sales guy who's on the road like I was and you're taking calls on your cell phone, great. How many times did you have to, Dwight, in your day, pull over? You got sticky notes. Oh, when I get back to the office, I got to call so-and-so. Got to make sure I add this one in here, virtual survey on this date. Now you're just like, yep, okay, great. Boom, done. End the call. It's over in your CRM system with everything you talked about.
That's fire. That's awesome.
And then you can send a summary of the call to the customer, because you got to think customers often are not just calling you. They're calling 2 or 3 other moving companies. They're having 2 or 3 totally different conversations with each moving company, because as you know, everyone does things totally different to try to get the same damn result. So, what I would have leveraged it for if this was around my day is when I got done with that call of, hey, this is the date of our survey. This is this. You said you're bringing this. I'm doing expectations, right? Customer expectations, moving company expectations. You send a text or email summary of that call, just highlighting all the bullet points, almost like a follow-up after the call. And it's just like you blow the customer out of the water. It's like, man, how the hell does this guy know all this stuff? How do you remember? But yeah, I don't think you realized you were plugging. You had no idea.
Give me 1 second. Let's see who we got in there. See if we got any comments today. Okay, we a little dead today, but I know these people getting some insights. So all right, so we talked about postcards, we talked about the lead providers, talked about how AI integrated super movies. And no, that is awesome, because I feel like that's what the industry has definitely been missing with that piece, especially with moving owners who's in the field and they're constantly talking on phones, and then even though they're multitasking, should be dividing their time to the customer. Hey, you get that call and you're like, well, hey, I got to make the sales call, but geez, I spoke to like 3 people today, and now this person calls me back and they're saying that I said this. And now that's transcribed right back into the CRM.
You can look right up in the notes and say, okay, summary of the whole call. What I say, what they say. Good, bad, ugly. And then if you want to dive it in deeper, you can actually have the whole live transcript of Dwight said this, Ryan said this. And not only read it, you can click on it and play it back. Just those hot buttons. Or you can play the whole damn call back. It's up to you. But
Yeah,
great.
no,
It's like having a sales manager or an expert on every one of your calls. And you think about training a new sales rep today in the moving world, like how long does that take to get a sales rep up to speed?
yeah.
With what to say it, how to overcome particular objections. And what I see this evolving in, not even see it, I know it's there because and I'll be a little careful how I say this, but imagine all the data that we're collecting at this point, right? So we know what moves booked, what moves didn't booked. We know what was said on handling objections or issues, problems, or whatever on good calls. And we also know what was said on bad calls that made a move go awry, or the reason they lost that move or lost that job. So now with the whole new AI voice thing coming up, imagine if Dwight is, closing at 65, 70%. Now we can replicate not only your voice, that's the easy part, but now replicate all the right things to say at the right time, depending on what that customer says in real time. They don't know that they're not talking to a real Dwight. It's a Dwight bot. But a Dwight
I was
bot
just
that
thinking about
closes.
that too. That's crazy.
So that's the next evolution of where we're going with that. So now you truly want to talk about scaling a team. I mean, I just can't imagine if I had 3 Ryans working for me. Holy cow, that'd be crazy powerful. Or 3 Dwights or 3 anybody. Yeah, I mean,
And the crazy part is what happened to have the actual sales reps in place. And I think it's because people are, in my opinion, what do you call it? Overpricing themselves. And that was the only word I could think of for it. Right? Like, oh, I'm worth this. And if you want my expertise, if you want my sales ability for something that I may not even get the return, from an owner standpoint, may not even get the return from, you need to pay that person X amount of dollars. And now where it's like, well, geez, forget you. I got AI bots. And they're doing exactly what I want them to do. They're not taking a day off.
and the sad thing is they're doing it even better. And
Mm.
I sat through a little presentation this past week of doing training calls with AI bots. So you can do mock customer calls with AI to also train your sales team. So you're not
Mm.
actually wasting it on a potential customer. You're not taking the time as a sales manager or general manager, or whatever, to, it's not a waste of your time, but to spend a bunch of time doing mock phone calls, which is kind of weird, right? Doing it in person. A lot of people don't like that role playing piece. I know it always made me super uncomfortable. I did well at it, but it just wasn't something I liked. But to do a mock call with a bot to help you streamline your piece, I think is really, really cool. And it's free. Like it doesn't cost you anything. So
So they used to have this other company who was doing something like that. No names mentioned because we want to keep people on. But they were charging an astronomical price where basically it was like AI bots would be booking appointments for you on your calendar, and you got to program it or whatever the case is to say what you wanted to say. But I think it was unless they simplify that process where how much programming really goes into these AI bots. I feel like a lot of people, especially the older generation of moving owners, don't want to, spend that time dealing with it.
no, and I think that's just a legacy issue across the board. But then again, I do know a lot of really, really older moving company owners that they'll flat out say, like, listen, this is not for me. This is past me, but I got to get my team involved. Like, I got to find a way to start leveraging AI, because if you're not leveraging AI every single day in your business or just your personal life or something, it's going to pass you by so fast. This past year, to see where AI came, I mean, AI's been around for what, 15, 20 years? Or it's been around for a while, but it really took
Hmm.
a long time to kind of get some adoption. But now it's growing quicker than ever. I mean, some people
Hmm.
say, hey, the next 6 to 12 months is when you're going to see things go wild. But then there's also people saying, hey, it might be another 5 to 10 years before this thing really goes even more insane. Depends on which side of the camp you're on. Me personally, I believe in the 6 to 12 months. I mean, you look how far ChatGPT is came. Now you can
Hmm.
type in, get images, you can do all sorts of things. And, you know, I caution people to, you need to play with it. Do
Yeah.
something with it every single day. And it's almost like an intelligence assistant is how I heard it this past week. And here, artificial intelligence, you think of one thing replacing humans, but I feel like it just can do the things that we can do as humans that we'd have to do a little bit of research on and a little bit of spending more time. Now it's instant. So we can conquer more in a day than we ever
So
have been able to before.
I say it now, in 10 years, the moving industry will obviously have changed drastically. It won't, what you see today is not what you're going to recognize in 10 years. And y'all heard it from me today on the 24th of 2024, October. Basically, and I say that because you already got the Elon Musk is already pushing out the Optimus robots, which is phenomenal because obviously we got to work those kinks out of the first round, make sure they don't kill people like our robot. But you know, once those kinks are worked out, this is coming to market. It's already been built. You got the cars, the self-driving cars with no steering wheel, pedal, no nothing like that. Come
Yeah,
to market.
people were talking about that years ago, being like, that's never going to happen. Never, never, never. Now they got Uber services that pick you up with no driver and take you all.
Hmm.
Self-driving cars. They've already got the basically electric self-driving tractor trailers that are hitting routes left and right.
Exactly. So you don't
Nobody
think they're
thought it would
gonna?
take, and here it is. And I look back at, I mean, how many, not many, many years ago, like a computer itself would fill this entire room, right? Like it was a
Hmm.
massive computer. You had many people that were working on it, and it was like, whoa, this thing is so cool. Look at this. This is now a mass computer in your pocket with information all over. So another 5 to 10 years, like what are these going to be like? Because
Yeah,
these things continue to blow my mind away.
and just imagine. Obviously they got the tractor trailers doing it. It's going to be nothing for them to do it with 26-foot box trucks. So once they do it with the 26-foot box trucks, and let's just say that your customer has to go long distance. Okay, you program the truck to drive long distance. The truck gets there. Very similar to how Domino's model was, where they did it as a commercial, but I'm pretty sure they probably got it out there somewhere, where the car pulled up to the customer house and the customer had to punch in their code so that basically they can get their pizza out of the oven that was on the car.
Yeah.
Similar thing.
they're gonna have a way where you can punch in your laborers who's at the other end who's gonna be unloading the truck. They're gonna have to punch in a code to the back of the box. The box opens up with all the cargo or household goods, and they start unloading. So now it defeats the purpose of having a driver. The movers are gonna still probably be relevant, but and they're already building the body skeleton. So for the people that are having issues lifting, they're getting that extra support from the robots to like really help them lift. But they're gonna get to that point where the robots can actually do the lifting themselves. And they're gonna be a whole lot stronger, so you don't need two people to lift one piece.
They just won't stop. They won't get tired. They're not going to sit there and take 14 cigarette breaks on the back of the truck each move. They're going to go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
You have to worry about someone's back getting hurt. Robot falls off the truck. They'll be all right. They're self-balanced. They'll bounce right back.
So it's to that point where people are overvaluing their worth right now. And in actuality, it's like, hey, you know what? I paid $20,000 for one of these robots to, one cook for me if I want to cook for me, babysit for me, which obviously eliminates babysitters. And it's weird, but when it gets to that point, and it gets, the robots get, all okay, it's to that point where it's like you're going to eliminate a lot of services out there. People are like, oh, you can't take a human out of these services or whatever. Yes, you can, because people are overvaluing.
I think the big thing is you look at AI and there's a lot of complaints of, AI is taking over this, robots taking over that. And what about the high school jobs? What about the college jobs? Well, quite frankly, like I disagree 100% with those statements about, oh, you're eliminating the high kids nowadays, new employees that they don't want to do the type of work that we did as kids, right? I mean, I was a paper boy. I worked in fast food. Like I worked in every line of every crap job there was just to have a little bit of income coming in, starting from high school all the way until college. And you just don't see people wanting to do that type of work. They want to jump right into a 6-figure, 7-figure job. And it's like, no, nobody wants to. I don't say nobody, I'm probably generalizing this, painting with a broad brush, but a good majority of the young folks just don't want to put the work in anymore. They don't want to say, they don't have to sacrifice the time, late nights, early mornings. And again, I'm probably speaking, I'm painting it with a broad brush. It's probably a minimal few, but it's just what I see, at least in my market. Like there's jobs everywhere, yet people are complaining, oh, there's no place to work. Well, no, there's work everywhere. You just don't physically want to do that type of work, which is fine, but don't complain that there's no work. I see it all the time. My friends list on Facebook, I put in 150 applications and I got nothing back. Well, no, I've never put in a job application. I've never submitted a resume. Like your network, right? I mean, that to me, that's where you find the most powerful jobs. If you're looking for a job in the paper, good luck. If you're on Indeed,
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, good luck. But so
because so many people are looking for jobs, and Indeed is I have to say it's a go-to place. No matter how much recruiter is, advertising and stuff like that, it's just you can't leave free. And obviously people are not trying to go on Craigslist where you're paying $25 for hopefully somebody that's decent, and it's going to take you a lot of applications before you find that decent person on there. But then at the same token, on the opposite spectrum, people that are applying and these people are taking forever to hire them, that's a whole nother thing. Oh, well, we're accepting your application. We'll get back to you, and it takes you 4 or 5 months to let a person know if they got either the interview or they got denied. And it's just like, who do you think you are? Have people wait 4 or 5 months and still think that they're going to be available for you.
But how do you stand out? You got to get creative. Stand out now. I mean, just filling out an application and submitting it to me is no good. I mean, I'd be showing up with something with a gift. I wouldn't even have a resume, but how do you sit down and talk and speak with somebody? Also, did you do any background research on the company you're applying for? Or are you just applying for the company? Because going into that interview or going into that conversation, if you know what that company does and how they do it, their values, their mission, and you can kind of leverage that in your communications with the HR person or the hiring rep, like how much more powerful is that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're already a part of the organization and you're just at the first step of the way. But there's a lot of cool things that you can do if you're looking to get hired to stand out. But if you're just filling out applications just like every other hundreds of people, like they're gonna look at them same resumes that were probably all drummed up on ChatGPT, right? They all look the same, they all sound the same. And I think that's the other problem with AI or ChatGPT is with the amount of people that are using it. Like I go on LinkedIn all the time. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit, and I'm seeing all these posts, and I'm like, AI, AI, AI. Like I just met this person last week at a conference, and they couldn't even hold a 2 second conversation. Yet they're putting out this beautiful freaking post on, and it's like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Like you can sniff that out so quickly, and so can't these organizations that are hiring. These guys aren't, they're
Oh
not
yeah.
dumb
Look,
rocks.
the moving owners are learning real fast when they see that perfectly looking resume. Like, oh yeah, he sounds impressive, and then they put him in front of the training, and he can't read.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you misspelled your last name, but yet you're talking with these gigantic words and you forgot to put in your phone number, you didn't put your address in, you didn't that, but yet you have this beautiful descriptive piece. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah. Have you? What was your challenge with that? Where you got a person who came in, they applied for a mover position, and then you put them in front of training, and they couldn't read or make their way through it because they couldn't comprehend it. Like I found I ultimately ended up having to fire them or figure out some way to work around that disability. But I guess what was your take from that?
I think my whole thing, the hiring thing, I feel like moving companies in general, in a lot of industries, they go out and they're looking for the labor, they're looking for the move coordinator, they're looking for find people that can communicate, that are bubbly, that are personable, that should attitude and effort are the only two things that I ever looked for when it was hiring anybody. You can teach people the moving business. The moving business is not that complicated. But oftentimes, if you're driver's labors, it's a small pool as it is, right? So you're really going to have to kind of pick and steal and poach from other companies if you want that. But my whole thing is, do I want somebody that has, have been taught or trained the wrong way, and then trying to bring them into our organization, trying to retrain them on, like taking an old dog and trying to teach them new tricks, right? Sometimes it works. But if the dogs used to go in the bathroom in a certain part of the yard, now I'm trying to train that 10-year-old dog to go to the bathroom back here. How many times do you think he's going to go to the bathroom in the front yard versus the back? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You put all that training. So I rather have a fresh puppy, sort of say that, yeah, he's going to make his mistakes. He's going to go in the house once in a while, but that puppy wants to learn. That puppy is fresh. Spring chicken, if you must. And
Mm-hmm.
it's attitude and effort are the two things that I feel like folks need to be looking for. Guys that can communicate, guys that are bubbly, the moving stuff can all be taught because it's not that hard. I don't know why we overcomplicate the moving side of the house, but if you got SOPs, you got your training modules and things like that, like we can teach the moving, but you can't teach attitude and effort. You can try, but good luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, I did. Like I said, I did my morning walk, and I talked about SOPs, and it's just like people are definitely overthinking the SOPs. Like, oh, I don't have no standard operation procedures for my
That's
guy
where
for this for
that's where
this.
ChatGPT comes in, right? That's where you
Exactly.
can leverage that. You can leverage that across the board. If you need to come up with a vacation policy or SOPs on this, that, or sick, that's where you leverage that. Because I'll be the first one. I'm not the greatest at writing things. Like once I get the first couple lines down, I'm good. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that first couple to get me started, and that's how I leverage ChatGPT. Of hey, get me. I'm creating this. Get me my first 3, 4 lines so I can get rolling. Boom. But I also keep an open thread too in my chat GPT. I don't start new threads because obviously it learns you, it learns how you talk, it learns more of what have you. So if you look at mine right now, I've got an open thread from probably like a year and a half ago, just straight up. But it knows me now. So when I
Mm-hmm.
do ask it some things and I ask it for me to do some cool things for me, it sounds like me. I still,
And that's the crazy part because
yeah, I
it's
don't ever
like,
just copy and paste. Like I'm still tweaking it, put my own spin on it. But, especially when it throws in all the emojis, I'm not a big emoji guy. And
mhm.
I was always putting 100 emojis in there. I'm like, no, delete, delete, delete. Like,
The crazy part is, AI is going like it got to that point where I was using ChatGPT so much that I started thanking ChatGPT. I said, "Thank you, Chat. That was great."
you're sending prompts in your own mind, like, all right, Dwight, give me a. No, I just, it's scary though, right? I mean, it's, hearing a lot of it this past week at the New York Movers Association is there's some people that are scared of AI.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, I am a little bit too. I have no idea where it's going to go. But I just tend to look at, hey, how does it help me today in my day-to-day business? How does it keep me organized? How does it allow me to tackle more things in a day than I've ever been able to do.
Mhm.
I use it as an assistant, basically.
Yeah. And right now with the phones, I don't know, like you have an iPhone, but with the phones right now, they're using Gemini, they're leveraging Gemini a lot more than with Samsung. We say, hey, Google. But because now Gemini is, it's like, well, Gemini is a little more sophisticated than hey, Google because now um, Gemini stopped listening.
See?
You see? See? Prime example. So the phones are always listening to you people.
Yeah,
But
they are.
uh, so with the G, we can't say it. It's very good because you can like look at images on your screen and images that you don't know what it is, and you're like, hey, what is this? Where can I find this? And it'll basically just find it for you, find it in the marketplace if you want to buy it. You can buy it, and it's you can even crop pictures like say ballerina or whatever it is, and basically move the ballerina to a different background all within the same image, add different balloons and stuff, and it looks like the picture wasn't even like, altered.
Yeah. So gone are the days of spending hours on Photoshop to, trace, draw, drag this, that, and it still looks terrible. Now you just click and drag or just
Hmm.
tell it what to do.
So it's definitely scary.
100%. But it's, you know what? It's time to get uncomfortable with it because if you leverage it correctly, it'll absolutely help you in every facet of your business. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Hmm.
Firm believer in that. Because working for a technology company, yes, I always thought I was kind of tech forward, but now that I'm kind of around it so much, like, yeah, it's a little scary, but at the same time, I see how it assists our entire organization on a daily basis. And I'm seeing what our co-pilot's doing for moving companies and sales reps and closing more deals and streamlining their process and playbooks. And it's amazing to see it when it's out in the field and actually it's working and working correctly.
Hmm.
It's really, really cool to see.
So yeah, I would definitely love y'all take on who's watching, y'all take on what y'all believe how AI has helped you to where y'all believe it's going. So definitely share your take when y'all get a second. And yeah, so yeah, other than that, geez, you can't talk about the old processes. Like I felt like I wanted to teach right now, and I'm like, well, damn, AI. That's all I can think of. Where like, you can pretty much create 100 processes and within a week span. And I say a week span because you could probably do it in a day, truthfully. But
You could do it in
so
probably 5 minutes.
but and you could, and that's the crazy part because you can tell ChatGPT, hey, create me 100 processes, and ChatGPT will spit out 100 processes for you. But it's not for you to just go off and ChatGPT. It's for you to audit these processes, implement these processes, and make sure that everybody's on the same page and they're getting buy-in, having these company meetings. And I think that's a really good way to leverage ChatGPT as well for company meetings. I used to personally write out all of my meetings and agendas. I said, well, hey, so one, I got all the contacts. That was my first part of the meeting. Everybody need to know everybody's contacts so that hey, if you got to call out, you got somebody you can call to have replace you. Don't just call out to call out. And then the second part was like, okay, well, hey, what's been working? Oh, well, attendance has been working. Well, let me write this whole bullet on this whole paragraph on why attendance has been working and what we could be doing better, blah, blah, blah. And I'll spend maybe a day, maybe less like the last afternoon or the day before writing all this stuff. And it's like, well, hey, you got Chat GPT. Hey, how can we improve on attendance chat? And then what can we do to incentivize these guys to be better with more reviews, getting more reviews for us? And it's spitting all this stuff out. And you can tell it, hey, put in bullet points. I don't want these long paragraphs, but I just need to hit on those highlighted points.
Yep.
And it's right there. And it's scary how quick that's done, but it's like, what is your time worth?
Dude, time back is priceless, especially in this industry. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get 25% of your time back each day, by working and leveraging AI or any type of software, whatever the case is, right? Why would you not do that? Why
Now,
would you?
do you think it takes away from the self-education piece?
No, again, I'm sure there's many takes on this, but there's a lot of things that I was not familiar with, like writing SOPs and things like that, that now, after leveraging ChatGPT to give me some ideas, now it's like I have a really good idea of how to start, where to start. Now, I might have to go in and figure out, kind of the filler pieces, but it helps me, drive up a great outline of what I'm looking to do, but I'm also learning with it, right? So things I didn't know, ChatGPT and they're giving me this knowledge, and I'm one of the ones that once I read it a couple times, like I've got it down. Um,
Do
so
you don't feel like it cripples the uh, creative piece of one's mind because now we're not strategically thinking of how to get through a situation. We're kind of like giving up that power to just say, "Hey, Chat, figure it out for me."
I think it helps me. I guess it depends. If you're just one of the ones that just says, "Hey, write this for me," and you copy and paste it, and that's all you do with it, yeah, you're going to learn much from that? No, because you're not really taking it in and you're not diving deeper into it. But when I do ask it to do something or outline this or create something for me, then once I have that initial piece that it creates, that's when I start diving into it and doing my thing. And that's the point where I'm really learning and leveraging it probably the most. So I think it really depends on how you use it. If you're going to copy and paste it, then no. Are you going to learn much? No, you're just checking the box and saying I'm done. Um, but how deep are you diving into it? I would say, and that's how I learn. That's how I retain quite a bit of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can. I agree. You can see it. You can take it in two different levels.
Yeah,
You can
because I know
copy and
that.
paste, or you can get it to get you going, and then get really creative within. But there's people that I know, like myself. I'm super creative, but it's like, where do you start? That's my biggest downfall. I don't know where to start. Once I have the outline, I have no problem filling in the blank spaces. So to me, it's like the creativeness is always there. I just can't get that creative start. Um,
Mhm.
and there's some
It's like
people that,
quieting the noise that's in your
yeah, and
head.
there's a lot of people I know. Shoot, I've got a really good friend of mine who super creative, comes up with wild ideas, but just doesn't know how to execute them. So to me, it's like, well, you can have all the great ideas and mindset in the world, but if you can't execute on that, what's that idea worth at that point? So he will leverage it for he'll punch in the idea of, hey, I'm do this, but how do I execute? Where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do I finish? What have you? So and he leverages it in that way. So we both use ChatGPT in two different ways, sort of say. He's a
Mhm.
creative guy. I'm not. But once I have the starter, super creative. He's got the creative mindset, but has no idea how to execute. Boom. There you go. So
Yeah,
go on
and
and use it.
once they both work between Meta and ChatGPT, once they both work out the kinks with the images, I think that they'll be into something. Like they got some great images, but like adding text to images hasn't been in their favor because the text is always coming out incorrect spelling, or whatever the case is. But I think once they figure out how to work that kink out, I think they're going to be in a really good spot. Right now, it's like you got to use blank photos for the most
Is it
just
crazy though? Like how everyone's a little bit scared of AI. Everybody's using it, but at the same time, like we're the first people to criticize the snot out of it, right? Like, oh, it does really well here, does really well here, but we can't get that language on the images yet. But
hmm
just think of what it's doing prior to, right? So it will come. Obviously, it's probably already here. I just haven't rolled it out, right? We're waiting on the next version, sort of say. But it's always funny because I'm the same one. I'm like, man, why is it saying this? But it just saved 25 minutes in my day by making a quick click. But yet I got 5 minutes to criticize. Man, why did it put that in the paragraph? I don't ever came up with that anyway, right? So it takes me 30 seconds to delete, rewrite, or what have you. But it's just funny how the brain works with that stuff.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I love, like I said, the way it can like with videos. If you can get once they're able to, I think, and maybe you got to pay for a higher subscription, but once they're able to text a video, like transcribe a video that you upload, and then be able to create descriptions, create hashtags, create a promotion off of that video. I think that's going to be where they need to go. So, like bringing so many softwares into one.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all. So we are at the top of the hour. So if you definitely enjoyed this talk about AI, definitely leave a comment below on the page, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And let's help grow this community so that basically more and more movers can see this content and be taking their companies to the next level or just exploring different options that they may have not known about. But I'm Dwight with Max Movement Training. We got Ryan Marsh, the strategic partner slash former mover slash, oh man, where you want to leave it at, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't even know where I am, what time frame, what day. I just know that I'm home right now. I'm home for the next week and a half before I hit the road again for another hot and heavy 2.5, 3 weeks. And it's just wild, man. You spend so much time in a hotel. Like this is my first night in my bed. Last night I woke up and I'm like, where am I? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I wasn't even used to my own shower this morning. I get in the shower and I'm like, this is weird. I'm used to, you know. I
Well,
mean,
imagine what the over the road drivers feel like.
yeah, I mean, shoot, their home is their cab, right? So my home is hotels at this point, Airbnbs. But I wouldn't have it any other way, man. To be able to surround myself with some amazing people in this industry, like yourself and everybody that I'm meeting out here, and old friends, new friends. Out at IM, I got to see two of my buddies from Canada that I haven't seen since Unigroup conferences, and it was just like picked right off where we left off, and it's just so much fun, man. It's cool to see that people are watching. Every little thing because I go out in public now and everyone's like, "You're so much taller than I thought you were." And I have no idea who these people are. I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, "Oh, on the screen, I thought you were like 4'10". I'm like, "What? I'm not even tall. I'm what,
Yeah.
5'11". So it's just cool when they highlight, "Hey, I really like that revenue summit that you hosted. That operational segment really helped power my this or that." So it's really cool, man. People are watching, people are listening, and it's just really cool to be able to jump on a platform like yours here and drop some nuggets or just share some struggles and secrets. And because people are taking this, people are taking what we say and they're implementing it. They're doing things with it. And the power of these sessions is just really, really cool.
Definitely. All right, y'all. So we'll see y'all next Thursday. Oh, next Thursday is Halloween. Woo!
We should
Oh,
do a spooky. I'm gonna pack it. We should pack it out. We'll get a couple people on this thing.
okay, definitely, definitely, and make sure y'all have your Halloween costumes on. But all right, y'all. We'll see
I'm
y'all
gonna
next week.
I'm gonna dress up as a rogue mover.
Oh, you got that one. All right, y'all. Y'all take care.